Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Excuse me, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for July 1st, Thursday, 2021. I remind everybody we have a reverse age health call tomorrow night at 9 p.m. For centuries, this civilization has lived only two periods: the period of war and the period of preparation for war. The whole of history seems just neurotic. When the mind knows, we call it knowledge. When the heart knows, we call it love. And then, and when being knows, we call it meditation. When love becomes an attachment, there is no love. And a lot of us are simply just playing or deceiving ourselves. The attachment is the reality. The love was just foreplay. So whenever you fall in love, sooner or later you discover you have become an instrument, and then the whole misery begins. What is the mechanism? Why does it happen? I had an individual talk with me. It was a fellow, and he said that he loved a woman. He said he loved her very much until the day she died. I was weeping and crying, but suddenly I became aware of a certain freedom within me, as if some burden had left me. I felt a deep breath, as if I had become free. That moment, he became aware of a second layer of his feeling. Outwardly, he was weeping and crying and saying, "I cannot live without her." Now, it would be or will be impossible. Life will be just like death. But deep down, he told me, he said, I became aware that I'm feeling very good, that now I am free. A third layer began to feel guilt. It said to him, "What are you doing?" And the dead body was lying there just before him. This is what he said to me. He began to feel a great deal of guilt. He said, "Help me. What has happened to my mind? Have I betrayed her so soon?" Nothing has happened. No one has betrayed you. When love becomes attachment, it becomes a burden, a bondage. But why does love become an attachment? The first thing to be understood is that if love becomes an attachment, you were just in an illusion that it was love. You were just fooling yourself and thinking that this was love. Really, you were in need of attachment. And if you go still deeper, you will find that you were also in need of becoming a slave. Now, there is a subtle fear of freedom, and everyone wants to be a slave. That sounds strange, doesn't it? Everyone, of course, talks about freedom, but no one has the courage to be really free, because when you are really free, you are alone. If you have the courage to be alone, then only can you be free. But no one is courageous enough to be alone. You need someone. Why do you need someone? You're afraid of your own loneliness. You become bored with yourself, and really, when you are lonely, nothing seems meaningful. With someone, you are occupied, and you create artificial meanings around you. You cannot live for yourself, so you start to live for someone else. And the same is the case with the someone else also. He or she cannot live alone. So he is in search to find someone. Two persons who are afraid of their own loneliness come together and they start a play of love. But deep down, they are searching for attachment, commitment, bondage. So sooner or later, whatsoever you desire happens. This is one of the most unfortunate things in this world. Whatsoever you desire comes to happen. You will get it sooner or later, and the foreplay will disappear. When its function is done, it will disappear. When you have become a wife and a husband, slaves to each other, when marriage has happened, love will disappear because love was just an illusion in which two persons could become slaves to each other. Directly, you cannot ask for slavery. It is too humiliating. And directly, you cannot say to someone, become my slave. He will or she will revolt. Nor can you say, I want to become a slave to you. So you say, I cannot live without you. But the meaning is there. It is the same. And when this, the real desire, is fulfilled, love disappears. Then you feel bondage, slavery, and then you start struggling to become free. Remember this. It is one of the paradoxes of the mind. Whatsoever you get, you will get bored with, and whatsoever you do not get, you will long for. And you will long for freedom. When you are alone, you will long for some slavery, some bondage. When you are in bondage, you will begin to long for freedom. Really, only slaves long for freedom. And free people try to be slaves. The mind goes on like a pendulum, moving from one extreme to the other. Love doesn't become attachment. Attachment was the need. Love was just the bait. You were in search of a fish named attachment. Love was just the bait to catch the fish. When the fish is caught, the bait is thrown. Remember this, and whatever you are doing, whenever you are doing something, go deep within yourself to find out the basic cause. If there is real love, it will never become attachment. What is the mechanism for love to become attachment? The moment you say to your lover or beloved, love only me, you have started possessing. And the moment you possess someone, you have insulted him or her deeply because you have made them into a thing. When I possess you, you are not a person then, but just one more item amongst my furniture, a thing. Then I use you, and you are my thing, my possession. So I won't allow anyone else to use you. It is a bargain in which I am possessed by you, and you make me a thing. It is the bargain that now no one else can use you. Both partners feel bound and enslaved. I make a slave of you, then you in return make a slave of me. Then the struggle starts. I want to be a free person, and I still want you to be possessed by me. You want to retain your freedom and still possess me. This is the struggle. If I possess you, I will be possessed by you. If I do not want to be possessed by you, I should not possess you. Possession should not come in between. We must choose to remain individuals, and we must choose to move as independent, free consciousnesses. We can come together. We can merge into each other, but no one possesses. And there is no bondage. Then there is no attachment. Attachment is one of the ugliest things. And when I say ugliest, I do not mean only religiously. I mean aesthetically also. When you are attached, you have lost your aloneness. You have lost everything. Just to feel good that someone needs you and someone is with you, you have lost everything. You have lost yourself. But the trick is that you try to be independent and you make the other a possession, and the other is doing the same. So do not possess if you do not want to be possessed. Now Jesus said somewhere, judge ye not, so that ye should not be judged. It is the same. Possess ye not, so that ye should not be possessed. Do not make anyone a slave. Otherwise, you will become a slave. So-called masters are always slaves of their own slaves. You cannot become a master of someone without becoming a slave. That is impossible. That's impossible. You can only be a master when no one is a slave to you. Now, this seems paradoxical, but when I say you can only be a master when no one is a slave to you, you will say, then what is the mastering? How am I a master when no one is a slave to me? But then I say, only then you are a master. Then no one is a slave to you, and no one will try to make a slave out of you. To love freedom, to try to be free, means basically that you have come to a deep understanding of yourself. Now you know that you are enough unto yourself. You can share with someone, but you are not dependent. I can share myself with someone, and I can share my love. I can share my happiness. I can share my bliss, my silence with someone. But that is a sharing, not a dependence. If no one is there, I will be just as happy, just as blissful, if someone is there. That is also good, and I can share. When you realize your inner consciousness, your center, only then will love not become an attachment. When you realize your inner attachment is not there, then you will become love. To understand, I know this kind of sounds a little different for people. I know it's just it's not discussed a lot, and you don't hear it from so-called counselors, do you? You hear them talk about that stuff? No. You really don't, do you? You don't hear them talk about that stuff. And understand that this is all about you. And when you heal you, you heal the world. That's a fact. But if you believe that you're tiny, small, then you won't. And you won't heal yourself. And you won't know yourself. Man has reduced woman into a slave, and the woman has reduced man into a slave. And of course, both hate the slavery and both resist it. You see why we have so many issues with relationships? They are constantly fighting any small excuse, and the fight starts. But the real fight is somewhere else deep down. The real fight is that they are asking for freedom. They cannot say it so clearly. They may have forgotten completely, which most have. For thousands of years, this is the way people have lived on this planet. They have seen that their father and their mother have lived the same way. They have seen that their grandparents have lived in the same way. This is the way people live. They have accepted it. Their freedom is destroyed. It is as if we are all trying to fly in the sky with one wing. A few people have the wing of love, and a few people have the wing of freedom. Both are incapable of flying. Both wings are needed. Now, one thing that, and I think a lot of you understand this in this meditation, to visualize and understand some of these applications with yourself. Beware of the popes. Beware of the devil. The devil will tempt you with drugs, alcohol, and most particularly premarital sex. Now, understand this. This planet was operated, was overseen by Lucifer and his brother Satan. This was their planet. This was, the physical, material world. Power, money, control, deception, manipulation, greed. Who is this devil? You ever ask yourself? Have you ever met him? Because he hasn't tempted me. Unless I wanted to be tempted. I don't think any of us have ever met the devil, or that he has tempted really any of us. Desires come from your own nature. It is not some devil who is tempting you, but it is a strategy of religions to throw the responsibility on an imaginary figure, the devil. So you don't feel you are being condemned. You are being condemned, but indirectly. The Pope is saying to you that you are the devil, but he has not the guts to say that. So he is saying that the devil is something else, a separate agency whose only function is to tempt people. But it is very strange. Millions of years have passed, and the devil is not tired. He goes on tempting. And what does he gain out of it? In no scripture have I found what is his reward for all this arduous work for millions of years. Who is paying him? And by whom is he employed? This is one thing. And the second, is not our God omnipotent, right? Isn't he? Isn't the one God? Now that's what all these scriptures and writings say, that God is all-powerful. If he is all-powerful, can he do a simple thing? Just stop this devil from tempting people, rather than going to every person and telling every person, don't be tempted. Does that make sense? Don't be tempted by the devil. Lucifer, Satan, whatever name you want to use. Why not finish this one devil? Or, whatsoever he wants, give it to him. Now, you would think this is something to be decided between God and the devil. What business is it of ours to be unnecessarily trampled between these two? God has not been able in millions of years to convince the devil or to change the devil or to finish the devil. And if God is so powerless before the devil, what about his poor people? To whom these representatives of God go on saying, don't be tempted by the devil. If God is so powerless and impotent before the devil, what can ordinary human beings do? You see how this is weaved? For centuries, these people have been telling these lies, and not even once have they themselves tried to be responsible. This is irresponsibility, telling young people, be aware the devil is going to tempt you. In fact, this man has put the temptation already in the minds of these people. They may not have been thinking right then of drugs, alcohol, and premarital sex, but they had come to listen to the Pope, to some spiritual sermon. They will go back home thinking of premarital sex and how to get tempted by the devil and where to find the drug dealers. I kid you not. But alcohol is certainly not a temptation of the devil, because Jesus Christ was drinking alcohol. not only drinking it, but making it available to his apostles. Alcohol is not against Christianity. Christianity accepts alcohol perfectly, because to deny alcohol would be putting Jesus in jeopardy. Jesus was not a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. He enjoyed drinking, and he has never said that drinking is a sin. And we all know that sin only means missing the target. How could he say it? Now, the Pope seems to be far more religious than Jesus Christ. And I can visualize that if the only begotten Son drinks, the Father must be a drunkard and the Holy Ghost too. These people may be the cause, because from where did Jesus learn? Certainly the devil could not tempt him. We know that the devil used to try to tempt him, and he said to the devil, "Get behind me. I am not to be tempted by you." And you know, we can all say that to everything. The same, you can say it to the ego mind. You say it to subconscious mind. You say it to yourself. But these people seem to be mentally sick. You never come across the devil, and you don't talk with the devil this way. Get behind me and let me go on my way. Don't prevent me. Don't try to tempt me. And if you do say these things and somebody hears, he's going to inform the nearest police station. Here comes a man who is talking to the devil. And we don't see any devil anywhere. Now, Jesus Christ is also contaminated by the rabbis and the priests. It is the same company, just with different labels. And the priests. It is the same company, just with different labels and different trademarks. But the business is the same. The company is the same. Their work is the same. They corrupt human beings. They destroy their innocence. And this Pope is worried about premarital sex. It must be on his mind. Otherwise, how can this warning come out of it? And that is his most emphatic point. But that is wrong. And what is wrong with premarital sex? It was a problem in the past. But have you entered into the 20th century or not? Have you entered into the 21st century? It was a problem in the past because sex can lead to pregnancy to children. Then the problem will arise of who is going to bring up those children. Then who is going to marry that girl who has a child? So there will be complications and difficulties. There need not be. It is just in the mind. In fact, most marital difficulties arise because premarital sex is denied. It is as if you are told that until you are 21 you cannot swim. Don't be tempted by the devil. Pre-adult swimming is a sin. Okay, now one day you become 21 but you don't know how to swim. And thinking that now you are 21 and you are allowed to swim. You jump into the river. You are jumping to your death. Because just by becoming 21, there is no necessity, there is no intrinsic law that you will be able to swim. And when are you going to learn? What actually are these people saying? They are saying that before entering the river, you should learn to swim. If you enter the river and you are committing a sin, right? If you enter the river, you are committing a sin. But where are you going to learn to swim? In your bedroom, on your mattress? For swimming, you will need to go to the river. There are Aboriginal tribes that are far more human, natural, where premarital sex is supported by the society, encouraged, because that is the time to learn. At 14 years of age, the girl becomes sexually mature. At 18 years of age, the boy becomes sexually mature. The age is going down. As human societies become more scientific, technological, the food is sufficient, the health is taken care of, and the age goes on falling. In this country, girls become mature earlier than in India, and of course in Ethiopia. How can you become sexually mature? You will die long before. In America, the age has fallen from 14 to 13 to 12 to 10, because physically people are more energetic, have better food, not really, a more comfortable life. They become sexually mature early, and they will also be able to function longer than in poor countries. In India, people simply cannot believe when they read in the newspapers that some American at the age of 90 is going to get married. The Indians cannot believe it. What is happening to these Americans? By the time an Indian is 90, He has been in the grave almost 20 years. Only his ghost can get married, not he. And even if they are in their bodies, a 90-year-old person marrying a woman who is 87, just great, simply unbelievable. And they go on a honeymoon, and they are really very practiced. And they have done this all their lives, many times, getting married, going on a honeymoon. And they have been fortunate enough so that in one life they have lived at least 5, 6, 7 lives. Premarital sex is one of the most important things to be decided by human society. The girl will never be more alive sexually than she is at the age of 14. And believe it or not, research this, the girl will never be more alive sexually than she is at the age of 14. And the boy will never be so sexually alive as he is at the age of 18. When nature is at its peak, you prevent them. By the time the boy is 30, you allow him to get married. He is already declining in his sexuality and his life energy. He is already on the decline. He is losing interest. Biologically, he is already 14 or 16 years late. He has missed the train long ago. You see how it is all weaved. How it's all weaved on this planet. How it's been so ingrained. How everybody has accepted things the way, this is the way they should be. You know, my mother and father told me this, and my grandparents, this is the way it's supposed to be. And it's all a lie. And this contemplation and this meditation is to view yourself kindly, generously, and humbly. And some of the things I've shared, ponder them. See if they ring a high vibrational frequency with you. There's no embarrassment. It is just you with you. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted. And I'm sure that we all are. And the first thing that we care to do is relax our bodies. Head to toe, inside and out. How do you do that? How do you relax your body? You've got to be willing to let go of any attachments. Any expectations. Any attachments, any expectations. This allows the body to ease, to go into ease. All the stress, all the anxiety, all the fear, all the worry, all the hurry. And we all know this. But does it do you any good? Does it any of it? Instead of that, focus on the now. Focus on you in deep gratitude for exactly the way you are. Right in the now. Focus your energy instead of on all of that other stuff. Worry, stress, fear, anxiety. Shift your energy to deep eternal love, deep eternal gratitude and peace. And when you do that, the body is just going to go into as light as a feather. It won't be thinking, say. The body becomes so relaxed, it's not thinking. It's not addressing the ego mind. It's not addressing subconscious. It isn't at all. Because we move into the now. And we still the ego mind and the unconscious, the subconscious. And what happens is that we step away from all of that. And we sit with the God that we are. And you can see it in your heart, mind's motion picture, and you can feel it in your heart, mind. This isn't a judgment of your ego mind. It is merely to watch how they operate. And with the body relaxed, leaning into you as the God, you then realize that the now is all there is. There is nothing else. And when you focus on the now and the body is relaxed, where do you think you go? Only the moment, the space between heartbeats. That's it. Whatever you may be doing in this very moment is the now. It's never not anything else. It's just now. Most of us don't go there with that. But to be in the now is absolute bliss. You're in the center of the storm. The storm is the material world, the physical world. And you are in the center, total peace, calm. And you are the spectator, the watcher of all of it. From this perspective and understanding, you begin to understand you. What's it all about? The point is how do we stay in the now? Because what happens is that, some of us go into the past. Some of us have memories, and we enjoy them, and we visit them on occasion. But some of us go in the past and just stay there. And what happens is that we end up dragging that past into a future that doesn't exist. We create that future from that past, and we relive that past in that future. This is why a lot of people will say, we just, no matter what we do, we just seem to end up here. Some of us will go into the future that doesn't exist. And mind you, the now is right there. There's three stones. There is the past, the now, and the future. And a lot of us just are in the past or the future because we don't know how to be in the now. So you wander and you want and you, when am I going to have this and when am I going to get this and when is this going to happen and when is that going to happen and when am I going to meet this person? And can you see, we all have done it. How frustrating that gets? And instead of that, you take the energy and you focus on the now. What kind of future would you like? The past is history. It's dead. Deader than a doornail. So the past is history. It's just, that's it. And the now really is all we have, and everything happens in the now. Now, the interesting thing is, how do we leave the now? How do we? How do we leave the now? We leave the now when we get caught up in the programmed thoughts that float by us in the tens of millions. And they aren't even ours. And so we're in the now 1 second, the next second we're off in several different thoughts. In order to keep yourself in the now, instead of leaving the now, what do? You focus on the breath, the divine positive energy. The breath is the divine positive energy. And it sustains the body that holds the God. The God, the soul, comes into the body. The body starts up. Everything starts operating. The energy feed, the lungs begin to fill with oxygen and air. And then the breath ends up supporting the body to hold the soul. So the breath is very divine, and it is divine perfection. So whenever we wander off, gently and kindly, say to yourself, I'm wandering off, not a biggie. I'll focus on my breath, and I'll be in the now. 3,000% of the time. It's imperative that we decide to do that. And we have to, we just choose to or we don't. It's imperative that we practice that. To be in the now. To still the mind and the ego. It's the only way you're going to master them. Now we have a pretty good, I'd say an excellent bird's eye view of our bodies as the God in them. So we look at these bodies, relaxed, floating, and we notice in the center of them, going all the way up top of the head, are these colored wheels of light, really vibrant colors. They're roughly about 7. And we notice that the energy, flow the whole body, every part of it. And you also understand that these energy vortexes, these etheric wheels of light, they're actually the gateway of the God that you are through the body. This is how you sustain the body. And isn't it interesting how little we know about our own bodies? How little we know about the chakra energies? So this is me, the God, flowing through this body. And I am not the body. This is why we talk about having the power of healing. So all these colored lights, and you're flowing as the God through them. And you see the red wheel of light, which is the root chakra, which is at the tailbone. And the root chakra, what does it do? It's connected to our sexuality and our pleasure, fun, happiness. That's what you, as the God in the body, give that energy, all right, through the root chakra. And that's what happens. But then, of course, you can be blocked by what? Guilt. You're blocked by guilt. So if you're having fun, you're just footloose, fancy-free, having a wonderful time. And everything is just perfect to you. It just folds into place. Everything fits. You're just in total bliss. And then the ego mind pushes the guilt in, and you start getting this feeling. Well, I wish it could last forever, but that's not the way it is. It's going to end. So I better enjoy it while I can. You see how we are tricked? Instead of saying, this is the life that I enjoy living. This is the life that I desire. See? Big difference. Big difference. And the God, say, that flows through these energy vortexes in that root chakra is trying to communicate with you in those times. Hey, I'm here. Open it up. This is the life that you wanted. This is the life that you have asked for forever. Here it is, the opening. Embrace it. Be grateful for it. It's not going to go away. See? So then we, as the God, move to the sacral chakra. And then we move to the solar plexus chakra. And then we move to the heart chakra. And then we move to the throat chakra. And then we move to the third eye chakra. And then we move to the crown chakra. All along, going through the body, as the God, knowing as the God, knowing every molecule of that body, because you're flowing with it, through it, in it, around it, above it, below it. And so doesn't it make sense that the God energy that we are goes to the top of the head of the body, and it saturates into the pineal gland. So it supercharges the pineal gland. Pineal gland is really important to us because it is the gateway to all the particles of existence while we're in this body. Now, none of us have a fully healthy, functioning, keep performing pineal gland. Not yet. So when you, the God, pours this over the pineal gland, you view your pineal gland any way you choose through your heart, mind's motion picture. I see it as a rosebud, a green ball. And as soon as I, the God, saturate that, it expands immediately into a massively fully bloomed rose with an absolute wonderful fragrance and with multicolored petals, and it's shimmering. And it's sending out continuous waves of this liquid energy that saturates me. And it is the deepest bliss, deepest joy, deepest gratitude, the deepest eternal love, and it's unending. And I feel it everywhere. I feel it in every single molecular structure of my body. And I discovered that I am the rose, and the rose is me, not the body. Now, we know, all of us in this meditation, that we are parts of the one, and that each of us are parts of each other. We know that. We also know that parts of us are asleep. Those parts of us are not awake. So what parts of us do we focus to communicate with? Those who are awake. And I'm talking about all beings. So we reach out to all the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And that's on, in, above, and below this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and everywhere out there. Yet none of them will participate, even though they're parts of us. They'll be asleep. They must be consciously aware that they're of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude. These light energy beings come in the googolplexes. One googolplex fills this universe with no sacred space to spare. They come in trillions of googolplexes. Trillions. Trillions. And including the ones here on this planet, on it and above below. And we're only familiar with a smidgen of them. The eyes that we have with these bodies only see 1% of what is on this planet. The ones that we're somewhat familiar with, they come in shapes, colors, sizes, forms, configurations we've never seen. The fairies, the sprites, the elves, the gnomes, the dwarves, the trolls, the trees, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether, wood, mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, the pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, the minotaur, many, many, many more. And all of them are with us now consciously. We call upon all the galactics, all the off-world, all the celestial. Yet, only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, and be with us in this now, in this meditation, forming this circle of light, complete liberation of this planet. And we're always familiar with a smidgen of them. Over 1,000 travel through the solar system every day. Trillions throughout the universes every day. And the ones that we're somewhat familiar with, Pleiadians, Assyrians, Arcturians, Andromedans, Feline, Zeta Reticuli, Nords, Greys, Draco, Reptilian, Golden Pyramid, Abion, many, many, many more. And only those that are consciously aware that they're of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, form this circle of light and complete liberation of this planet. Now, they've been assisting us in our evolution. enlightenment, ascension, freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. And they are with us now, consciously. We call upon all of the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, agartha, and beneath earth. Many civilizations, species, yet only those who are consciously aware that they're of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, and be with us in this now, in this meditation. Liberation of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, in this now. And they come in the billions, and they're with us now consciously. We call upon all of our loved ones, all of those who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inherited and experienced. Yet, only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, form the circle of light, complete liberation of this planet. And they are with us now, consciously. We have the archangels, we have the cherubim, seraphim, the archetypes, we have the ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Maitreya, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Shananda Christ, El Moria, Vedantia, Pel, Ba, Yala, Yeshua, many, many, many more. Now the archangels, their civilization vibrate a different frequency than we do. We don't see them like we see each other, but we do meet with them. And when it doesn't dawn on us while we meet with them, it's usually after that it dawns on us that that just wasn't some bystander. And they have the same message, it's just delivered in a plethora of ways. Isn't it absolutely magna glorious to be alive in these bodies? And yes, it is. Every step of the way. And bliss. They can surround any one of us in the tens of thousands because of their vibrational frequency. They can hold a large number in a small area. Ascended masters have mastered ascension into physical form, out of physical form. Hold God form, pure consciousness. We have ascended into physical form and are mastering physical form. We are creating our experiences to perfect our creation. And we're all here gathered, arm in arm, hand in hand, in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. And we're all one. And we're all God. And we're all love. And our God force, love, light, energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify. And it continues to expand. We immediately form a circle of light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia. This light emanates from the God, force, love, light, energy within each and every single one of these bodies. This light is so bright that it grays out the darkness of sacred space. It is so bright that it would take 1,000 trillion suns just to come close to its brightness. And we are flooding this planet, bathing it, showering it. All life, highest supreme value in the universes. All of our brothers and sisters, head to toe, inside and out. Everything. And not just once, but eternally. This is the highest of the highest high, of the purest pure, of the deepest deepest eternal love.